Interesting thought process.
That's a great question. Oh, that's really hard. Oh my God, I didn't realize it was going to be like this.
Wow, that's a good question.
Another good but difficult question.
Welcome to Casual Conversations with your host, Mike Oppenheim.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Oppenheim, and you are listening to Casual Conversations, and this time I have my brother Sam with me, and he's going to ask me questions about my book that's coming out. It's called Ardor, and this is a big event for me, so I'm excited to answer his questions, and I hope you buy a copy, which is available at my website, mikeyop.com. That's MIKEYOPP.com, and you can't miss the giant banner for the book. Thank you, and here's Sam.
Hey, how's it going, Mike? Let's assume for a moment that people aren't always listening to your other podcast. And so I think we should just take a brief moment to introduce you the way you introduce most of your guests. What generation are you from, if any? Where did you grow up, if that's relevant? And what's your worst nightmare from childhood that you used to be afraid of?
All right. Let's see. In reverse order, because it would be easier to remember the most recent question. When I was a kid, I kept having this dream over and over again that Yogi Bear would be chasing me and other people, including you. And then at the last second, when he was about to tackle me, he would turn into a person, either mom or dad or someone, and then everything would be okay. And I had it repeatedly, and it would scare the crap out of me. It's the first time I remember being afraid of going to sleep, because that was waiting for me. And I was insanely young. I don't remember. This was definitely before kindergarten.
Okay.
Okay, and then what generation, if any? I definitely think I'm in what they call a micro generation between millennials and Gen X, and it's pretty easy to explain. I remember very well everything before digitalization and the internet, and I remember very well everything coming out and adopting to it pretty easily. So, and then the third question, I grew up in the Bay Area of California. I was born in New York, but I definitely grew up in the Bay Area of California, right next to Berkeley and Oakland, California.
Great. Thanks for answering those preliminary questions. And so I'm basically interviewing you on the occasion of a release of your novel, and I think that you've worked really hard for this. How does it feel on the eve of publication?
Pretty amazing, actually. It has been a really long, hard trip here. Not only have I written and released 4 other novels, but this is the first time I've had backing and help, and it took a lot longer than I would have thought, about 17 months from the time they accepted it to it coming out. It's thrilling because I love this book, and the reason I wrote it and how I wrote it and why I wrote it was different than any other book I've done, and I'm very proud of it, but also I'm nervous in a good way. I can't wait to hear what people think about it.
Cool. I have a few questions about some parts of the book, but a lot of my other questions might be helpful to other people who are creative. And so one of those questions is a little bit broad. Just in general, if you don't mind me giving a little biographical background on you, you seem to be a very, very creative person. Obviously, anyone listening to this knows that you've created and recorded podcasts, as well as written and published novels. In addition, some people might not know you studied film and made short films. You wrote and performed music both solo and in a band that played gigs live and recorded the studio album. I just want to know, what is most rewarding for you in all of your creative endeavors, and why is it so rewarding?
Definitely writing a novel, without any question. This is my favorite thing to do, and it's the best feeling when you really finish it. You're really taking something that you wanted to tell and create and then giving it to someone, and you're letting them experience it. And I just love being entertained. My favorite thing in the world is being entertained. So the idea that I could potentially entertain someone else is thrilling to me. So my favorite thing is the novel by far. But the most fun thing to do, without any question, is creating movies and stuff with people. It's just too frustrating to work on a team for that long, and that's something that important.
That's great. And I do appreciate novels, including yours. But other people, including you, reach out to people in other written forms like blogs, newsletters, and short stories, which is another great form of art. Why is it that you prefer the form of fiction and novel length?
That's a good question, and it's funny because I really know the answers to all these because I've thought about it every time I want to quit. First and foremost, as you said, I was a film major and an English major, and my master's degree is in writing, so I really like both, and to me, the movie is just a different version of a novel, or a novel's a different version of a movie if you want to work backwards in time. Either way, it's this unit that is roughly an hour and a half to 2.5 hours if it's a movie, and then when it's a book, it's usually about a 6 to 7 hour read. But that does translate into about 3 hours of movie time, because just the way you write versus the way a movie script is. And if you read a movie script, they're 90 to 100 pages. It's a page a minute of screen time. So my point is, all of this is connected, and I really love the novel because like reading, you get to like picture the characters yourself. Like I can picture my version of the heroes and heroines, and it doesn't matter if it matches their description or not, as long as they have the requisite details that match the reactions from like characters within that world.
That's a really good answer, and I appreciate and understand it. What really inspires you in terms of writing novels?
Originally, once upon a time, it was reading, and now it's so different. It's literally what like every stupid and annoying and yet also monumental people I've read say. It's like the muse. Like this thing just hits me. I'll just get this idea and I'm like, I have to write that. And then I'm like, oh, I have to make that either the main point or one of the 5 main points of the thing I'm writing. And then I just, like, a plot comes to me and characters come. And then my favorite part about a novel is, like, you'll be stuck. So you just have to, like, invent a way to unstick it. And so, like, you'll just throw a character and you'll be like, oh, that shopkeeper from, like, the 2nd chapter would be a great character. Why don't I write a background sketch of, like, what they do in their spare time and then have their plot segue with, like, this other character? That's very fun.
Oh, cool. So, I mean, maybe this relates to your writing process, either as biographical information about yourself or as advice to other budding creative types. What is your writing process?
Hey everyone, that's it for the free version of this podcast. If you want to hear the full one, just head over to mikeyop.com and become a premium subscriber. That's MIKEYOPP.com. Thanks for listening.